Look what I have. We're going to be best friends. Don't be nervous. You're gonna like it here. Good grief.
Snoopy's just existed for probably your whole life. Like, Snoopy's just been in the world. But what's, sort of your relationship with Snoopy?
It's funny because I was never a superhero kid. I was always a Snoopy kid. I loved the comic strip in the newspaper. I remember I'm the youngest of 4 kids. So there was one Christmas when I was probably 9, and I got money to buy my 3 older siblings Christmas presents, and I got them Snoopy everything. And they were clearly too old to be having Snoopy everything at that time. But yeah, I've always loved Snoopy. So this still feels every once in a while like I'm going to wake up and go, this didn't happen.
Snoopy is not necessarily a character that we imagine to have a voice. We know Charlie Brown's voice. We know Homer Simpson's voice. So like, how would you sort of describe Snoopy's voice?
Yeah, I've had a lot of my friends have teased me about that when I excitedly proclaimed I was the new voice of Snoopy. They were like, Snoopy doesn't talk. But in this series, he really does, because Snoopy and Woodstock carry most of the stories. So while the kids help move the story along, their dialogue is used more for funnier punching up the stories. But Snoopy and Woodstock communicate quite a bit, but his voice is, it more explains the mood of what's happening than the actual words.
He's always had a voice, it's just like, he's just like such a cool guy. He doesn't need to, he's like the Fonz or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't need to use it all the time. Like, even in the Christmas special, like, my husband's favorite part is when he it's like, so he's always had one. It's just, we don't always know it.
The story I've heard, and I would have to verify this with the Schultz family, is that Charles Schultz originally intended that Snoopy would not have a voice when it was going from newspaper to television. And it was Bill Melendez that took it upon himself to record the voice and play it and say, like, what do you think of this? So it's kind of interesting when you think of it that way, that Charles Schultz thought, no, originally it was going to be the kids just interpreting what Snoopy's thoughts were, like providing those thought bubbles that we see in the animation strip.
So tell me about how you sort of developed the voice of Snoopy when you were working on it.
When I first auditioned, I went back and, watched as much stuff as I could find on YouTube to kind of prepare for it. And I've always kind of tried Snoopy's voice, even before I'd ever dreamed of auditioning for him. So I was pretty excited about it. And as they narrowed the field down as to who was going to get this part, everyone was saying, yeah, you've really got this Snoopy voice down. And then it was decided that they wanted to do it the original way. So the way Bill Melendez actually recorded Snoopy was very low and slow, because he was not a voice actor. He was an animator. So I started having to listen to some of the Bill Melendez takes, and Snoopy's laugh went from like me doing like that kind of thing to like this ridiculous, no one really knew what we were going to get until we pitched it and sped it up. And we slowly learned what worked, because unfortunately we didn't have Bill Melendez to talk to. My favorite sound, though, is definitely Snoopy bawling his eyes out. It's just so much fun to do in the booth.
How do you do that?
And it took a lot of time to figure it out. But yeah, Snoopy crying is kind of a it's like this series of weird guttural noises, and we vary them and try different things in the booth. And sometimes we play them and go, that's not it. And other times we play them and laugh our butts off and go, that sounds really fun.
It's going to be very hard for you to do it, like fan conventions in 20 years. They're going to be like, it's Snoopy, but like it, but like you can't do it. So yeah, it's going to be a weird experience.
It is. I can get very close, which is how I ended up getting the part. And then it was decided that no, we're going the Bill Melendez route. And that became the challenge. Yeah.
Can I hear your close version?
Yeah. Okay.
It's very close. What do you, I guess last question is like, what do you really love about Snoopy? Like, what do you love about, you said you always grew up a fan. Like, what do you love about Peanuts and about Snoopy?
I think that there were obviously some really nice life lessons in there. Like, I always loved the way Linus delivered those kind of messages of like, sometimes life isn't fair, but it's still pretty good. There was some really heartfelt moments, and that Snoopy was kind of a jerk, but when it came time to stand up and do the right thing for his friends, he always did it. Like there's a lot of love in that comic strip, and the show has that as well.
Whoa! Can you believe this dog?